That's unbelievable. What a strike from Michael Essien.
Welcome back to another episode of the Futbol Weekly Podcast. I'm your host, Reginald Dino. Oh my God, what a day. It's Sunday, and it just seemed like every single one of my teams was playing today. It was ridiculous. And they all played at the same time. The Knicks played at 12. The Chelsea-Man City game was at 11:30. Ravens played at 1. Arsenal Women's played at 1:30. Atletico Madrid played at 3. It's too much. Today was too much. It was actually too much today. It's going to make this show quick and sweet and dirty, whatever you want to call it. I was going to do that. There wasn't really much to talk about this week, a little bit here, a little bit there, whatever. And then VAR said, hold on, Reggie, I got you. You'll have some things to talk about today. And sure enough, we do, coming out of the Manchester City Chelsea game. I don't know who the commentator was. I think it was Jamie Carragher on Sky Sports. Him and Peter Drury were doing it, but the way he was going on as that game was the best advert for English football. It's the best league in the world because of this game, Chelsea versus City. If you didn't watch it, it ended 4-4. I mean, listen, I'm not a soccer snob or anything like that, but I can take pleasure in watching a 0-0 draw as long as the tactics are right. I mentioned this last week. As long as it's tactically a good game and it's not just two teams trying not to lose and rather two teams being patient, knowing that they can go for it. I don't need it to be 4-4, 5-5, 5-4 in order for me to say it's a good game like some people do. I don't need that. People are going to see the score 4-4. It must have been a good game. It was okay. There's a couple of instances within the game where it's good football. But those instances are few and far between. The bad touches, the loose passes, the overrun, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm getting grief from people. You've been a EPL guy forever. I'm an Arsenal guy. Arsenal plays in the EPL. I watch. I don't back the EPL. I don't back the English national team. I'm an Arsenal fan. So I back Arsenal. Okay? If you want to have a discussion on who plays the best football, what league plays the best football, we can have a discussion because it ain't a slam dunk like everyone thinks it is. 4-4. Oh my God, this is the best league in the world because this game's 4-4. 4-4 because defending's shocking. But anyways, we won't get into that. If you want to hear my views on the best, what I think is currently the best league in the world right now, listen to last week's show. So much to get into. We have our Ajax watch. We have our Ange Ball watch. I'm going to just mention Harry Kane really quickly again. It's halfway through November. That means the transfer window opens in 6 weeks. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There was a comment made today by a coach that wasn't Mikel Arteta, so it's not getting a lot of attention. But I think what he said was probably worse than what Mikel Arteta said, and we'll get into that this show. We'll also talk about the Arsenal women's game today. The day did not start off. The day started off well as far as the Knicks. Started off well with the Ravens, didn't end well. And didn't start well with the Arsenal women's team. But again, we'll get into all of that. So this week we'll start off with, and guys, I'm going to make this really quick. We'll recap the leagues as well. Sorry to go on another tangent. We'll recap the leagues as well. There's an international break coming up, so we're not going to have a show for a couple of weeks now. It'll let me get, I got to get the lighting corrected in here. I don't know how, but I got to do it. So we'll do all that. But let's start off with, it's either going to be Harry Kane or Ange Ball. Let's start with Harry Kane, I guess. Why not? This guy scored another 2 goals in the past league game. Last week I said he has 9 and 10 or something like that. I was wrong. He has 15 goals this season, and I think they've only played, that's what I forgot to look up, how many games they've played. I think they've only played 10. So he has 15 goals in 10 games. You know what? I can tell you right now, actually. 11 games. So he has 15 goals in 11 games, and he has 5 assists in those games as well. That's going to be Golden Boot. There's another kid actually in Germany as well playing there. He has 14 goals. I forget his name. He has 14 goals, but Harry Kane hit the ground running in this league, just picking up where he left off all those years at Tottenham. So another 2 goals for him, taking up so total up to 15. It's a pretty good haul. You have to be very pleased if you're a Bayern Munich fan. And now we're going to get to my favorite segment of the Futbol Weekly Podcast. Currently my favorite segment, which is Ange Ball. The Ange Ball Watch. So here we go. Make this a little bit bigger for you. I said, and this is just me. Who the hell am I? Just a guy in Canada that does a podcast on YouTube. What the hell do I know? But one thing I do know is how over the top English pundits are, how over the top most of the people out there are when it comes to what have you done for me lately or what have you done lately. If you've lost 2 games in a row, you're a terrible team. Your manager's got to go. If you win 2 games in a row, you're the best manager ever to manage football ever, especially if you're doing it in the EPL. Anyways, I'm not going to get into it. Not going to get into it. Not yet anyway. Maybe a couple of shows down. Because the view of English pundits and coaches and players outside of England, they better thank Jude Bellingham. That's all I can say. But anyways, I said, previous show, listen, Ange Postecoglou, whatever his name is, the coach of the manager at Tottenham, everybody was giving him all the manager of the month, 2 months in a row. This guy's the best. It's bringing Tottenham out of the doldrums. Blah, 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 blah. And I said, listen, when the competition gets stiffer, let's see what he has. So they're finished playing Luton Town. They're done playing Sheffield, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. They're done playing all those teams. So I'm just like, okay. Let's see now, when the next stretch of games comes, which is going to be tough, let's see what Ange Ball we have here now. Let's see Ange Ball when you're going up against City and Villa and Chelsea and Newcastle and West Ham. Let's see what Ange Ball is. That's what I said. And I said, you know what, just for fun, the next 6 games we'll watch. If Ange can win 4 of those 6 games, Ange Ball all year if you want. Ange Ball. Even I'll call it Ange Ball. So I have up, if you have a brain, it's pretty easy to see what I've done here. He failed at the first hurdle against Chelsea, and he failed against Wolves. And I told you Wolves wasn't going to be an easy game. They go right to the death. Tottenham was up 1-0 for 92 minutes, and in 5 minutes they scored 2, Wolves, and beat them 2-1 at Molineux. So the first 2 hurdles, the best manager in football or in England has fallen at the first 2 hurdles. And if you're a Tottenham fan or whatever, you're going to come out here and you're going to say injuries. Every team has injuries. Newcastle's complaining about injuries. They're just bad. I can sit here and rattle off injuries for you as well. Thomas Partey, Martin Odegaard, Ben White was hurt. Saka's hurt, but still playing. Gabriel Jesus is hurt. Everybody can rattle off injuries. After the break, the international break, they have Villa. I believe it's at Tottenham Stadium. Then they go to City. So for me to hear Ange Ball, they have to win all 4 of these games. And I know there's one there they're not winning. I know that they're not winning that. Not with that team. Not with that team. So this pretty much should be done after this game, after Man City. This whole graphic should pretty much be done. I don't see any green checks coming anywhere here. I honestly think, and then it's not just I'm an Arsenal fan and it's a Tottenham coach. I honestly think they'll lose all 6, or they won't get points. They won't get maximum points from all 6. They might draw 1 or 2, but they're not going to win any of these games left. I've said it here. I'm usually right. Go back and check the tape. I'm usually right too. You know it. I said this last week, and it still holds true for me. There's some teams that are just not affected by VAR. They actually benefit from VAR. In full display today in the Manchester City Chelsea game, and it's not Chelsea I'm talking about. How that PK. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a big Cucurella fan. I actually don't. I actually think he's a little rat running around. Like if you remember, if you're a hockey fan and remember Ken Linsman, the Rat. His nickname was the Rat. He was just a pesky little guy. He gets under your skin. When your back's turned, he gives you an elbow. That one of those guys. When you look at him, he's rolling on the ground. I don't like Cucurella. I don't like the way he plays. But him and Haaland were going for a ball. And they're both pulling and clutching and grabbing each other. Cucurella's 5'6". Haaland's 6'3", 6'2", 6'3". Haaland falls down like a sack of potatoes after he had already fouled him. If you ask me, it should have been a foul the other way. Should have been a foul on Haaland. But VAR, that referee gives a penalty. VAR says, yeah, well, it wasn't a clear and obvious error, so penalty stands. It's got to change. I keep harping on this. It's got to change. That wording of clear and obvious mistake, it has to change. It's not a clear and obvious. It's never going to be a clear and obvious mistake because the referee interprets the play one way, and that's it. That's what I saw. That's just how I interpret it. How can it be an obvious error if that's what I think? It'll never go away. I saw a push today. And it's just so funny listening. I think it was Jamie Carragher that was doing the game. And it's just funny how in 7 days, well, depending on the team that's playing, but in 7 days, his tune has changed 180 degrees. Again, it's not Arsenal, so, I saw a foul today. The greatest holding midfielder in the world, Rodri. I saw him today push over. Oh my God, who was it? Conor Gallagher? Oh, someone, I can't remember it. But regardless, the player was falling down already. And Rodri put 2 hands in his back. Sounding familiar? Player was falling forward already. Rodri put 2 hands in his back and finished the complete pushing of the guy over. Whistle blows, yellow card for Rodri. Jamie Carragher. That looks like the right call. We saw this last week, Newcastle Arsenal. 2 hands in the back, Joelinton on Gabriel. The excuse was he was already falling over, so it's not a foul. But this week it is. I don't, this is what I'm talking about, people. I don't get it. Not going to talk much about the game. It was a 4-4 game, back and forth. City took the lead. Chelsea would reply. City takes the lead. Chelsea replies. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If you're a neutral and you can only enjoy something that's high scoring, there you go. If you're a City fan, you're disappointed because you scored 4 goals. You should probably win. And if you're a Chelsea fan, you're probably disappointed as well because if you score 4 goals, you probably should win. But again, like I said in the beginning of the show, just because it's 4-4 doesn't make it the greatest game. Don't get me wrong; it's back. It's exciting. It's back and forth. But there's a lot of mistakes in the game. Lots of mistakes. And I don't know if it's because, like I said before, I don't know if it's because it's too fast, the game, but I don't know. It's lots of mistakes, missed passes. You see a passage of play where there's 9 or 10 good passes and they get a chance, and then you don't see that again for another 20 minutes. It's one pass here, intercepted, another pass here. They get it and they intercept it, and then they give it away and they kick it out of bounds, and then it's intercepted, and this guy overruns it, and Again, not shitting on the EPL, but you have to look at it objectively. You have to look at it with some type of scrutiny as well. When the football's bad, the football's bad. And don't get me wrong, it's not like the La Liga and Bundesliga is perfect. I don't know. I'm not saying that at all. But no one's saying La Liga is the best league in the world. You're telling me EPL is the best league in the world, and if I'm watching that, I better see the best leagues, the best teams, or the best players, and the best gameplay in the world. Then, and this isn't it. This is not it. Lots of big games this week. We'll just run through the. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about the Arsenal women's game. If you didn't watch it, real quick. I mean, you guys probably don't care, but I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm not just an Arsenal men's team fan. I'm an Arsenal women's fan. I'm an Arsenal under 18 fan. I'm the reserves. Everything. I watch everything. If I can watch it, if it's on, I'm watching it. If it's Arsenal. So that game started at 1:30 today. They were playing Leicester City at the King Power Stadium. Went down 2-0. They went down. And it's just looking like, oh my God, this is how this day is going to go. Wow. Everyone's losing. Everyone that I'm cheering for is, well, the Ravens weren't actually, but they ended up losing. And, the Knicks were winning too. Never mind what I just said. And that game ended up 6-2 for Arsenal. They have probably the best women's club team in the league. They're in second place behind Chelsea, I believe, or City. I think Chelsea won it last year. But what our coach, Jonas Endwall, can bring on from the bench is what I wish Mikel Arteta could bring off the bench. Because you have your leading goal scorer who's just coming off an ACL, in Vivia Midamina, and Beth Mead as well, coming off an ACL injury, coming off the bench, providing a spark. I mean, it's just the firepower that he has available to him when things aren't going well. It's game-changing. It's actually game-changing. And our captain isn't even playing, Leah Williamson. I'm sorry, vice captain isn't playing, Leah Williamson. She's captain of the English women's national team. She's not even playing. ACL again. Something's going on with ACLs at Arsenal for the women's team. I think there's 4 of them that have had ACLs in the last year. So something needs to change there. But Mikel Arteta, that firepower you can bring off the bench, incredible. You have to work towards building a team like that. And unfortunately, guys, I've tried my best. I even remember when they bought Kai Havertz, people were talking to me at my outdoor soccer. Why would you buy him? Oh no, don't worry. Mikel Arteta will change him, and look what he did with Xhaka. I don't, guys. I'll admit defeat. I don't see it. I want Kai Havertz to be the best player ever at Arsenal. I do. I really do. But I don't see why we bought him. I don't see how we can use him. I don't see what he adds to the team. I don't see it. And now that the silly season is coming, the winter transfer market, and you're looking at the winter market, and you're saying, well, in order for us to and I'm talking about Arsenal, in order for us to afford anything, we got to sell 4 players. And I said on the other podcast in the beginning, I said it when we first started doing it. It'll start back again. Don't worry. When we first started doing it, the clock enders, I said, I don't want to hear in January or even in the summer, we don't have any money to go out and invest in this team. When somebody says Ivan Toney is 75 million, I don't want to hear, well, we can't afford it from Arsenal. Because I said you're going to rule wasting $65 million on Kai Havertz. If we don't have the luxury of certain other teams that can just go out and gamble on $60 million players and hope that they become good. We don't have that. You got to get it right. And that purchase is 1,000% wrong right now. 1,000% wrong. I don't see what he brings. I don't see what he does that Smith Rowe couldn't do, that whoever and Trossard can't do. I name a player. What is he doing better than anybody? For me, nothing. Didn't want to talk about Kai Havertz, but here we are. So when the window comes and guys are available, again, I don't want to hear we don't have enough money. I don't want to hear that's too expensive, because if you have to sell, if what they're saying is true and you have to sell 4 players in order to afford somebody for 80 million, you got to sell 4 players at 20. Well, who are you going to be able to sell at four players for 20? That means you're going to be looking at a guy like Smith Rowe to sell him. You're going to be looking at a guy like one of the younger kids that are in the academy for 20. That's the only players you're really going to get 20 for. You're not going to sell Odegaard or Saka or who else then? You can't sell El Neni for that. Partey won't go for that. Not anymore. The guy, he's out until I'm got Ghanaian brother, but you have to sell him. The guy plays 20 games a season. It's not helping. Not helping. Can't sell Declan Rice. You're not going to get 20 for Jorginho. You can't sell Saliba or Gabriel or Ben White. You're not going to sell Tomiyasu or Kiwior. Can't sell Timber. You're going to sell Ramsdale? Where are you coming up with the other 40 million then? These are topics for the other podcast because it's all Arsenal stuff. I don't want to make this podcast an Arsenal podcast, but when I get going, you know what happens. So getting back to the Women's League, 6-2 win today. A lot of different goal scorers. It was a barrage in the second half. It was literally, I remember I changed the channel. It was 2-0. I went back to the Ravens game. I watched it until commercial. I came back. It was 3-2. So that was probably 4 game minutes. Maybe, no, it's more than that. Maybe 8 or 9 minutes. It was 3-2. So, and it finished 6-2. So congratulations to the women's team there. During the international break, it's probably the only Arsenal I'm going to be able to get. So I'll be watching going forward as well. Let's do our Ajax watch. Ajax watch. Ajax watch. Ajax watch. Ajax watch. Ajax watch. So Ajax had a game this past weekend. They tied 2-2. So 3 games unbeaten. Again, at least the goals are going in. Didn't see any of the goals and how they scored. The other team scored, but Ajax is they're on their way up. They're still in 12th place, 14 points out of a Champions League spot, and then 24 points out of first place. We will keep this watch going until they're in Champions League spot, and then it's pretty much over. It's a wrap from there. But let's keep it going. They're still in they're either in 13th place with 12 points, or they're in 12th place with 13 points. I can't remember which one it is, but we'll keep watching. We'll keep watching. Ajax watch. Ajax watch. Ajax watch. Ajax watch. Ajax watch. Some big games this weekend in La Liga, Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen won again, so they're still on top, a point ahead of Bayern Munich. You have Stuttgart 5 points behind them, and Red Bull Leipzig has overtaken Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga. What a shock, Bayer Leverkusen. They've always been good. They've always been decent, I should say. But the run that they're on right now, they haven't lost a game. They're on the same clip as Bayern Munich. They haven't lost a game. They've drawn 1, and free-flowing football. Just give you the top 5 of the other leagues as well. We'll start off. We'll start off in Bundesliga. We'll move to Serie A. You have Inter on top. No surprise there. The way I hear people bad-mouthing Juve, you would think that they were in 10th place or something, but they're in second place. 5 wins out of the last 5. Only lost 1, same as Inter. On pace to be a good race down the road, down the stretch. I mean, we're only not even halfway through the season yet, so early doors, but still. Rounding off the top 4, you have Milan, 23 points, so 8 points away from Inter, and then Napoli, who I believe lost yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or they drew. Oh no, they lost to Empoli yesterday. So, I mean, is the fairy tale over? Still a strong team, still, championship pedigree. But I mean, you gotta do the business, right? So, big game of Serie A today was Lazio Roma. Came to a 0-0 tie. Didn't watch it, so I really don't have anything to say about it. If anybody else had watched that, message in on the Instagram. Let me know how it was. If I can find it on a replay, I'll definitely watch that. Because again, like I just said earlier, a 0-0 game can just be as thrilling as a 4-4. In the EPL, Man City's still on top with their extra point today. They're still on top. Liverpool and Arsenal are tied for second place. Liverpool's on top based on goal differential. And to round up the top 4, we have Tottenham, who are playing the 5th place team, Aston Villa, right after the break. So if you think Villa's one of those, this is Unai Emery's Villa. Okay? This is not Steven Gerrard's Villa, where they're in 14th place. They're in 5th place. They're only a point behind Tottenham. That should be an excellent game to watch. Manchester United is also on the come up a little bit. I know Ten Hag might be a little bit on the hot seat as well, but they're in 6th place, only 7 points away from first. So it's not a cold chop like everybody thinks. And we'll round off with La Liga. The surprise of La Liga, Girona won again today or this weekend. The same thing that goes with all these teams that are on top. Zero losses, 1 loss, 0 losses, 1 loss. That's what they are too. They have 1 loss out of 13 games played and 1 draw. So they've won 11. I don't know who the hell is on this team. I need to watch this. What if they play Real Madrid? I need to watch it. I need to. I don't understand who's on this team and why are they on a 5-game winning streak? Who are these guys? To round up the top 4 there, we have Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid. It's the same 3 teams every year. Just you have to enter in the 4th team. Last year it was Real Betis. This year it looks like it's going to be Girona. If they can keep this run going, that will be probably the story of the year in the world of football. So we'll end off this show, the 184th episode of the Futbol Weekly Podcast. We're going to end this episode off with something that a coach said today. Okay? If Mikel Arteta said this, he'd be strung up from the highest tree. If Pep Guardiola said this, we'd have to do an investigation on why what he said is true. But since De Zerbi said it, and who cares about Brighton, we might just let this slide because nobody's really listening anyway. De Zerbi was 1-0 up today against Sheffield United. I believe they're playing Sheffield United. Should be a cold chop for them. Again, EPL, not very many easy games as far as ability and effort go. Everybody will give you effort in the EPL, 100% effort all the time. So it's not walk on the field and win. 1-0 leading. One of his players gets a red card. I want to see the red card because apparently it's controversial again. They were fighting for the ball and apparently the player stepped on the other guy's leg while they were fighting for the ball and he got a red card for a stamp. The way De Zerbi describes it, it's 2 players going after the ball. They fell down. They're trying to play while they're on the ground. Guy stepped on it. It happens. But it's never a red. I want to see it for myself. But De Zerbi comes out after the game and says this, and I quote, this is a quote. No, you know what? Hold on. Now I'm getting two words mixed up, and I don't want to get them mixed up because, oh my God, and I don't want to get them mixed up. And here it is. He says, I quote, I don't like 80% of the English referees. He said that. I don't like 80% of the English referees. So, hey, what are you doing when you say that? Well, you're setting your team up to never get another call in the league ever again. And when that referee that you just lambasted after the game today is on VAR, guess what? You're not getting either. The benefit of the doubt. It's onside if it's against you. It's offside if it's for you. It's a handball if it's against you. It's play on if it's not. So, I mean, it's kind of tough to come out and call out referees and say you hate 80% of them. I have a feeling an apology is coming because you have to. I mean, you're setting your squad up to fail and not get any of those close calls. He claims that the red card turned the whole game around. Sheffield United was able to draw, and now they're winless in 6 while they're fighting in the EPL. He says, I am honest and clear. I don't like 80% of English referees. It's not a new thing. I don't like them. The behavior, I don't like their behavior on the pitch. And he's right. He's right in a sense. The referees walk around the pitch and the field. They walk around like the headmaster of a school. And all the players and the coaches and everybody else are 5 years old. And they're being reprimanded like they're little kids. That's what I don't like. You want to have a player wants to have a conversation with a referee. It should be a two-way conversation. But the way that the referees in England and even other countries react to players when they ask a question or when they're trying to talk to them, it's so dismissive. It's actually disrespectful. It's actually on the level of NBA referees. NBA referees, I don't know. Like they make a call and you try to have a conversation with them, they just keep walking. Like you're not even a person. Like you don't exist. I can get turning around and saying, okay, listen, this is what I saw. That's like what I called. Say that. But they pretend like you don't even exist. And this is what the referees in EPL are doing as well. Waving them away, get out of here, zip your mouth, don't talk to me, walking away while people are talking. It's disrespectful. So that's what De Zerbi said. I'm just waiting. It's Sunday today. I'm waiting for tomorrow to see what happens to De Zerbi, because if it was Mikel Arteta, oh my God. Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine what we'd be talking about right now. What would Gary Neville do? What would Jamie Carragher and Michael Owen do if he said that? Oh my God. What would he do? What would they do if Mikel Arteta said that? Huh. Strange. So like I said, there's a international break this week, so we're not going to have a show for a couple of weeks. I'll figure out some other things that are going on in this studio. The Spotify and Amazon Music and all that stuff, I still got 15% of it to do still. Guys, I'm telling you, man, life is crazy, but I still have to do that. So if you're looking for it on one of those streaming platforms, it's not there yet. I will do it. I promise you I will do it. I'll probably do it this weekend. Since we don't have shows, I can dedicate some time to doing it this weekend. But guys, if you haven't subscribed to the show, subscribe. It's free. It lets me know people are watching. It lets me know people are watching, and I keep putting out more content. I'm really only doing this once a week right now, but if there's more people watching and interacting, I might, add another show during the week. Or maybe like a short show during the week, or have guests on, or whatever the case may be. But I won't know that if you don't subscribe and I don't see the numbers. So please, guys, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Subscribe on Instagram. We're on all these here: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. at Futbol Weekly Pod on all social media platforms and YouTube included. So guys, won't see you for 2 weeks. Try to get some work done in the background for the shows to make it easier for you guys to get and listen to. Please, again, if you haven't subscribe, and we'll see you guys back here in 2 weeks.